Welcome to the dungeons of fear and hunger. Today I will attempt to get all the S endings. If you don't know, the game has 3 difficulty settings: normal, terror and starvation, and hard mode. Locked behind hard mode are character specific endings, or the so-called S endings. Bigger enemy health pools and no more saving. Putting myself through this challenge was a character building journey, to say the least. Well, since we're already here, let me introduce you to So, Kahara's goal: money, for the sake of a Lady of the Night, which comes with a special +1 deal. But that's besides the point. Lucky for me, making a fortune doesn't involve the whole fighting thing. You'll find that fighting usually leads to undesirable outcomes. Or worse, a series of undesirable outcomes. You're sitting in your room and come across a cool little drug. It kinda looks like a dragonfly. You've been talking to God for 3 days straight and there's a strange feeling in your limbs. This bit was completely unrelated to the video, but treat fights as if they were Bromo Dragonfly. Run far, far away from it. Well, maybe except for this guy. That skull of his? It's soft. Underdeveloped. Like a baby's. One good squeeze and... Anyway, just pick the rattiest, most pathetic backstory and you'll be fine. Picking to abandon your comrades will increase your chances to run away from fights, and rushing straight for the mission will give you dash, which takes your speed from a leisurely stroll to the speed of a fented up crackhead. It's scientifically proven that crackheads are among the fastest mammals on Earth, reaching a top speed of up to 100 miles an hour. This will come in handy as soon as we enter the dungeon. A few seconds after doing so, 2 dogs start chasing. Don't try to fight them. I tried. They're still faster than me, but by the time they spawned in, I turned the corner and, well, I assumed their AI broke. Scavenging what little resources I could, I came across a library of sorts. Searching the bookshelves can give me extremely overpowered items, lore, or the plague. After not finding anything special, this happened. An empty scroll. This can grant any single item or spell in the game. It, however, requires a quill, which I do not yet have. Next, an old and beautiful book. Maybe I should read it. Maybe not. That would be... Necromancy. Did I need it? Absolutely not. Is it cool having skeletons as comrades? Maybe. Normally holding shift lets you flip twice. Spoiler, it doesn't. Thankfully we still have more than 10 minutes of the video to go. While looking for friends, I found a quill and used the empty scroll to get Blood Portal. It's something like a fast travel. Masterfully maneuvering through the dungeon, I entered the mines, one of my most hated areas of the game. See these yellow shits? They have a funny little spell, which deals a little bit of damage and stuns your character for 2 turns. Well, I don't have that many limbs to spare. Deeper in the mines I found a Redditor Enclave and the Cube of Depths, the key to the ancient city of Mahabre. Exiting the caves, I found myself in front of the very man I was supposed to find, Lagarde. This meant our job was over. I used the blood portals to go back to the entrance. There we can find a man, the key to our fortune. A completely legitimate potion seller, a true practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. The man had me hooked, but I wasn't here for his oils. We were here for the maps of 3 treasures hidden in Mahabre. After buying them, I went back to the lower levels, to the entrance of Mahabre. Thanks to the cube, the door opens. After finding the first, then the second, I got greeted by a familiar voice. Why does a sick man think he can beat a guy who kept his anal virginity thus far and is a necromancer on top of that? Why do I hear them in my walls? I don't know. He looks way stronger than he actually is. Upon looting his body, we finally got the last map. The map to something we were looking for this whole time. A priceless crown. For that, however, I needed to solve a puzzle that I completely ignored at the entrance of Mahabre to get a key. I made my way back and surprisingly didn't fuck it up. Yes, it can soft lock you. Then tragedy struck. No more running. Then darkness. I had no more light. No more legs. It's pitch black for the rest of the run. I don't really know how to make pitch black footage interesting, so here's a little treat. There's only so much time you can last before you start seeing things, hearing them, until you aren't. If I'm lucky, there are a few visible pixels, my only indicator of whether I'm moving or crawling into a wall, and sometimes there are none. Oh, look, a crown. Now, to go back. Gahara crawled back to civilization and sold the crown for a hefty sum, making him a big shot noble. Freed Celeste, settled into a fancy manor. The dungeon, however, still haunts him. Every time his servants need to wipe his... Lagarde's most trusted companion. After Lagarde was imprisoned, Darce took it upon herself to venture deep into the dungeon to free her lover. The intro doesn't really matter because all the choices give combat-related skills, except for, of course, dash. While Kahara had to fight Isaac, for Darce, all the fights are completely optional, except for...
It's me, Sergeant Stoven. I got a lesson.
That was my first run. Her ending is very straightforward, as there are barely any steps apart from getting to the Grand Library in the Past Mahabre and returning to Lagarde's cell. In my second run, I got the book. With fresh knowledge that it's a 50-50 between a spell or a death, I did the sensible thing and ignored it. Using necromancy, I added Fred and Greg to my party. It was looking good. Fred and Greg carried me through the mages. On my way to Mahabre, since I didn't have escape plan, I couldn't escape all the fights. Now, see that icon? At the time, I didn't know what it was, but I assumed it was some sort of death timer, like an infection. I then valiantly fell to Fred in a battle against a door. From this point onwards, I refused to name skeletons. This was the run. There really isn't anything interesting to show, as the only obstacle are the yellow mages. I stole the cube, ate a person, and finally arrived at Mahabre. Inside the Grand Library, all you need to do is solve the mannequin puzzle and descend a little ways down the ladder to get one piece of an instruction. Do be careful not to go too far down. The second part of it was inside a pillar near the entrance, and the last in a small structure next to the library. That's it. Now I just combine the torn instruction pages and backtrack to Lagarde, and it's only important what's on the inside, right? Well, at least what's left after Hypoxia rampaged his neurons. Good as new. There was a small little detail in between the last two runs. The actual challenging part of hard mode was completely optional. There's 2 more characters I've been dreading to play. This run made me reconsider. Perhaps my rainbow teammates were right. Maybe I am If the subtle title of the ending didn't make any revelations to you, this run will be a little different. To become the god of ultra-violence, you need to collect every single unique soul. See, the new gods aren't the only enemies who have unique souls. There are other, arguably harder enemies who give a unique soul. This adds more than a handful of new enemies I have to beat. My first few runs looked something like this: a wannabe pyramid head, or a furry, an owner of a unique soul. In any other case, I just count on the Grand Library to find an empty scroll for necromancy, but for some reason, the Crow Mauler completely despawns after you enter Mahabre, and fighting one-on-one isn't too fun either. So I spent a few runs trying to get an empty scroll. This is not safe scumming, if there's no safe to begin with. But even with friends, the fight isn't much easier. This fuck can peck your or your Skelly's head off without a coin flip. He breaks your bones, making you lose 20% HP permanently, just enough to fuck you over in the future. Oh, and I almost forgot. An attack that doesn't seem too bad until you finish the fight. If I manage to get past Crow Mauler relatively unharmed, the rest of the run should be smooth sailing, right? For any cognitively functioning human, yes, but I'm not your average person. See, I have small little holes littered throughout my brain tissue. All the runs from here on out are exactly the same. Believe it or not, necromancy being the main win condition. I stole Isaac's mask to become immune to the blinding attack from Crow Mauler, and acquired a red vial to prevent Peck from landing by throwing the corrosive substance on his face. Many would mistake this for vitriolage, but unlike the definition, I didn't intend to disfigure, maim, or kill. It was an act of self-defense, Your Honor, I swear. I want to apologize to Isaac. In Kahara's run, I labeled him a potion seller, and even worse, a Chinese man. He's neither. In reality, he's just stone cold killer, you were. Back to Chromauler. Using the Eastern Sword, a few crits to the body kill him, and now we're allowed to have fun. I make my way to the Grand Library to acquire some souls. Don't worry, I'll still fight the boss itself. White Angel Soul gives me 2 chances to miss my attack, and my skeletons 2 chances to attack the wrong targets. Without relying on RNG, you can get them by, well, killing White Angels. They spawn after you kill the tormented one. Chambara seems like a nightmarish fight. In his phase 2 he has 2 rings around him, which both need to be attacked in the same turn to make him vulnerable. Skeletons target his body 90% of the time. Since I have White Angel Soul, I can make him vulnerable by myself. Not to mention just a few crits from the Eastern Sword do the job. Now the actually scary part. I need White Angel Souls. The only reliable way to kill them is to hit the heart. And believe me, you want to end the fight as quick as possible. If you're lucky enough, by now you acquired Black Orb, and if at least 1 tick hits, White Angel dies. See, White Angel has an extremely high physical evasion, not only on his heart, on his whole body, and my skeletons don't count for shit with so many targetable areas. Once I got my whole party equipped with White Angel Souls, there was little stopping me. I came back to the library to kill the Enlightened One and the Black Witch. For some reason, the Black Witch only drops her soul if you beat her inside the Grand Library, but the fight barely takes a turn. Remember what Chromauler did to the party? It turns out Valtiel's Black Orb attack, paired with a headbutt, which he usually does in the same turn, is lethal. My best bet is to poison his right brain and focus it, because it's responsible for casting the spell. After which, taking out the rest isn't too hard, as I beat him senseless in a vegetative state. Next is Skin Granny, and the Endless Soul which Nilvan gives you after you beat her. I generally wouldn't recommend sleeping in a random bed in some abandoned building, but that's what you have to do to enter the dream world. Skin Granny is quite easy as most of her limbs are gone before her first turn. After an unskippable lore drop, Nilvan asks to deliver her daughter to the God of Depths. You have to agree to get the soul, but yeah, no. Last of the new gods to beat is the dominating one, Francois. This guy is blocking the way. For some reason, the figurine's limbs are somehow tied to the old guardians, and killing the figurine makes the old guardian lose some limbs. It's not an easy fight, but 1000 turns. Francois should be pretty challenging on paper, but I learned that he's similar to unemployed Russians in your online lobbies. Talking shit quite literally shuts down most voluntary actions, replacing them by an instinctive defensive mechanism. Some animals shed their tails, some spray noxious chemicals. Russians enter a trance-like state, spewing every single and combination that's encoded deep inside their brainstems. This process can be re-triggered again and again. Now that all of the new gods are dead, I'll need to backtrack as I'm still missing some souls. After beating Valtiel, the butterfly that you can find in the courtyard despawns and leaves behind his soul. This is the only way to get his soul. Then the Iron Shakespeare, also a fight I can just out DPS. The only ones left are Salmon Snake and Cave Mother. Cave Mother is a very easy fight without much strategy, but she can dismember any limb. So I would recommend ditching the White Angel Soul for leg guards. Then something's wrong. One line of code beat me. The game froze. I could still walk around and interact with the game, but the screen was frozen. No visuals whatsoever. So I thought I'd just try again. Little did I know this would be the least infuriating death. In the following run I did most of the same, made my way to the library and beat the witch, grabbed her soul, ate her, I guess. The soul stone doesn't work on a pile of flesh. This one also ended in Mahabre, after I forgot that I had an infection. Now that I'm back where I left off, I need to kill Salmon Snake and leave the dungeon. For Salmon Snake, I just gouge out its eyes as it makes it quite hard to see. Surely now I'm done. With all the bosses beaten and all the souls collected, I made my way out of the dungeon. If you watch very closely, you'll notice that after killing Cave Mother, I never used a soul stone. I just collected her eggs and left. 10 hours, and Iron Shakespeare, Promauler, Cave Mother, Butterfly, Old Guardian, King Granny, Jambara, Salmon Snake, Black Witch, Valtiel. Later, I finally did it. I became the god of ultra-violence. The Dark Priest strives to achieve enlightenment, which has you retracing the steps of becoming a new god. For that, you need to defeat all of the new gods, which I became a little too good at. That's not a good thing. Then get the soul anchor from Nosramas to resist the process of ascension. And lastly, defeat Sylvian before confronting your new god self. Beating the new gods is a breeze, whether by stunlocking them with trash talk or playing darts on them. Well, that is a breeze, beating Sylvian isn't. Sylvian has 30,000 health. Also, each tentacle strikes you, dealing 50 plus damage, and has an attack to drain mind. And that thing, I don't know what it does, but I'm too scared to check. And the literal perma-stun. I will do everything in my power to bypass all but one thing, and that's only because I can't reduce the health pool. To deal with the tentacles, I'll use Locust Swarm. It feels like I'm a Viet Cong using napalm. Then for the perma-stun, I'll use pheromones to make it target the most useless skeleton. No offense. Lastly, I'll buy a whole lot of mind potions. Why does a liquid restore sanity? Why does it taste like cerebral fluid? Why do I know what cerebral fluid tastes like? I was lucky enough to get 2 empty scrolls, which I used for Blood Portal and Necromancy. Assembled a squad, beat the Fear and Hunger equivalent to a crackhead booby trap to talk to Nosramas. Next, I obtained the maps, this time only for the first map, which has the most useless spell in the game, Walk on Water. It can only be used in one place, and no, it is not on the shiny tile. Once I beat Valtiel, I went back to Present Mahabre and talked to Present Valtiel, who was hanging around. Next, we use the Walk on Water spell next to Salmon Snake, which brings us to Nosramas, again, where he gives you the spirit anchor. All that's left are the rest of the new gods, sitting on the throne, traversing the green hue. There is this notorious green hue. Last time it not only made my character go mad, but my GPU as well. As the credits were rolling, I checked my OBS. Encoding overload? Stopping recording stuck? And of course all my footage was a slideshow. So this time around I put my PC on turbo mode, which seemed to fix it. If the green hue didn't beat me, maybe Sylvian would. Using all the spells made the fight pretty easy. Lastly, I actually remembered to equip the soul anchor, and I talked to the new god version of myself. Thanks to the accessory, Enki resists the urge to ascend and returns to the dungeons to study moldy books from the library. Through his research, he learns the secrets of immortality and spends his time furthering his knowledge. So 30 hours and more than a few brain cells later, I did it. Was it worth it? No. Did I have fun? No.